Hey guys, so the video you're about to watch is a video with teenagers discussing plastic pollution, because I feel as though at the end of the day something that we all tend to forget is that it's our future that it's going to be affecting, like not our parents, not our grandparents, you know what I mean? So besides that, I hope you enjoy this video and take something out of it.
So, plastic pollution.
Plastic pollution.
Plastic pollution.
Plastic pollution.
Plastic pollution.
Plastics and pollution. And plastics pollution.
It's the spread of single-use and non-renewables across the planet. It's a pretty big issue. There's a lot of things it can influence and a lot of impacts it has.
And my understanding is that it is destroying the world and it is destroying ourselves as well.
It poses many dangers to our planet, especially marine life.
It's unnatural to our planet.
Millions of animals in the ocean just have to live without problems.
Kills the turtles.
It is generally agreed upon scientifically that global temperatures are rising more rapidly than ever as a result of human activity and will continue to rise for decades to come.
When you burn plastics and everything, they produce toxic gases like carbon monoxide, which not only affect the well-being of animals but the well-being of humans as well.
Plastics are in the ocean, they tend to break down, and those create what's known as microplastics, which are actually a far bigger issue than, say, straws or anything like that. The biggest issue is actually microplastics. And the issue with that is because they're so small that they're really hard to deal with and they're really hard to take care of, and you can't really clean it up.
They recently dove down into Mariana's Trench and they found that at the deepest point of the ocean there was plastic. So while no human actually has been down there, our impact has left a really bad mark on what was once a beautiful reservoir. And has a domino effect on many other negative impacts in the world, like air pollution.
Over 50% of the world's pollution comes from companies, possibly even more than that.
Personally, I'm very worried about the amount of plastic in our oceans because by 2050 there's meant to be more plastic in the water than fish.
And they can increase chances of cancer and liver diseases and stuff like that.
I am not the most educated person on this topic, but the sad thing is that everything that I have learnt about plastic pollution, I have learnt about it myself, because there is no education in schools about the amount of plastic and how detrimental it is to the environment.
There's not enough education, in particular in third world countries, because they don't have systems set in place and they don't understand the dangers of plastic pollution.
So when I think of plastic pollution, I just think of how disgusting humans are. We're just monkeys, we evolved, but we've changed the earth around us to suit our needs instead of evolving to suit the earth, which is yeah, can you blame us?
Imagine the shame upon us when our children and grandchildren learn that we had not only the information but the resources to stop something like this from happening, but we lacked the political will to do so.
I believe that there are many ways we can mitigate the problem of plastic pollution, and a big way that we can do, just as kids.
So I think that the first step to reducing the amount of plastic in our environment is by being educated on it, and you can educate yourself on the internet, but we really do need some sort of education in schools about the worrying effects of plastic on the environment.
Little things like chucking your rubbish on the ground and not picking it up, or seeing rubbish on the ground and not picking it up, small actions like that can make big differences.
But yeah, I think just cutting down on plastic and
keep recycling.
A lot of consumerist companies who are sort of aimed at selling things, for example, McDonald's and a lot of retail brands are changing a lot of their policies to be less plastic heavy, and that's from us consumers telling them that, hey, this isn't what we want a more renewable future, we don't want plastic pollution, and places are changing.
How easy it is to change our habits, not the most easy, but small things do make a difference. And while we can't completely ban plastic from our lives, and it's such an integral part to our everyday lives, there are things we can do to change it, like using reusable cups or reusable straws, or plastic products that don't have to be plastic, like bamboo or beeswax or tree wax products.
But it's definitely a very important issue and something that our generation will have to deal with and take into account when we make the future products and decisions. And hopefully businesses and companies will take into account the change in attitude towards plastic, and we can hope towards a more biodegradable future.
If immediate action is taken, then plastic pollution can really be reduced, and we can save all of the marine animals and we can save our planet, because everyone's heard that quote, "There is no planet B," but it is really true.
Massive change is required, which needs to be both inspired and enabled by a sense of urgency from us as a whole. The most systemic threat to the human race remains climate change. We have to act now before it's too late.
So I just think right now is the time to do something about it, and I think if we all came together and really put our heart and soul into it, we could make a change.
And yeah, that's all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.